Thursday, folks. Welcome to the Danny Kadota Show. That is my name, right, Jay? Okay, they got to correct me. Make sure. Phil, we usually have to look at the screen to figure everything out there, but now we'll be looking at you in the camera, Phil, right there. So
keep us focused.
Yeah, keep us focused. Yeah. So. Phil, you're gonna have to. You got any of the questions yet, or are we just off on a ramble?
Yet.
Okay, well, it is earlier.
Well, we just go through like we were talking earlier about fishing, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, what were we talking about? The Bluefin coming up.
The headline of today's show is: Are the Albacore going to show up in Southern California this year?
Well, I'll tell you, just look at the water temps. I mean, to me, that's probably one of the most indicative deal. You know, the other factor would be chovies around.
Yeah.
We got the bait. I think it's going to happen, but, we'll see. A little early. You got guys out there looking. But, it's condition-wise. I know every morning I'm sitting out there, and I've had a jacket on the whole time. It's overcast. It's definitely Albacore weather. So, let's keep our fingers crossed because, that's boom for everybody.
Yeah.
The banks that we've been fishing, the mushroom butterfly, are all within reach of all us guys, here at 22nd Street, all up and down, even above San Diego. So it's an ideal place.
On overnight trips even.
Oh, absolutely.
Even overnight the day boats. I mean, we saw them getting on the Bluefin, so they can definitely get on the Albacore.
And word of that, people go nuts. And I guarantee you, it's just boom town. And, it's nice even for the tackle shops. Tackle shops been hammered with Bluefin, lures and baits, heavier stuff the whole time. Get back to some finesse fishing, learning how to throw a chovy, fishing, number 4, number 2, like light ringed hooks with light line. Get some real casting in, and practice and doing that. Because the art of fly line and chovy is what makes the difference too.
Hey, and that's going to help your bass fishing and everything too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Doing that finesse fishing for
absolutely. Sure. So, let's keep our fingers crossed.
We got a question here, and it is from Mackie. He says, what other factors other than water temperature are you looking for a good Albacore year?
Well, it's got to be bait. Bait has to be the other thing. One of the biggest forage fish for the Albacore, are the anchovies. They will eat other fish. I mean, we get sours in them. There's a lot of different things, but that's the main bait for them. We've had years where the chovies have been thin, and even the bait supply. For instance, we were just talking about that. A record year we had in '84. Chovies, like in San Diego Bay, they had rations on them. I was fortunate enough at '84 and '85 to be in Islandia, and myself, the Mustang, and the Fortune were the only 2 overnight boats. Back in those days, Seaforth had strictly half-day, boats. So, for us to go out and tank up 100 scoops, I would go out and I'd have to go out and split some bait, and we'd take some out of the Fortune, and we'd split it with my brother on the Cherokee because they were being rationed on the Point Loma side. But everything we used was a fish, pretty much, And you don't braille Albacore. Even when you're commercial fishing, you throw one at a time, and you can keep them on the spot for hours and hours by one at a time. You might hit them with a short dip when you first come in, go on a slide with them, but most of that after that, it's one on the corner.
And if you can't put a water hose over the side, right?
Yeah, you can do
a little sprayer.
Yep, there's all that.
Hey, I do that on my personal boat. I have my sprayer I put over the side for it, just to have it, things come up on it. So.
And it'll bring back a nice starter fly line anchovy, which a lot of guys have lost, So it brings, the other thing I think it would do, it'd be good for the tackle shots because, the guys the last few years, all they're selling is rail rods and heavier stuff where now, you get back to fishing some of the finesse.
And expensive.
Things. Yeah.
We go back to some lighter stuff that's not as expensive. We could fish our, instead of going, Saltiga, everything, you can go to the Saltise and go a little lighter if you're going that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Smaller reels, more finesse, and I think the art of fly line anchovy, is probably lost with a lot of guys over the years of fishing straight sardines.
Especially on a conventional.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Because I would cheat with a bait caster for sure.
Yeah, we used to do
all
that.
Day.
We used to do that because we were bass guys and we'd goof around. But no, there's some of the small reels like Little Accurates. All the manufacturers have them. Smaller reels that have better drag pressures and they fly line chovies phenomenal.
Man, things have changed so much. I remember when I was a kid, man, my dad, because we had a boat, all we fished was, the coffee grinder, that's all we had. Or we even fished the, what is it, where it looks like a bullet, I don't even know what to call that.
Spin cast?
Is that what it is? A spin caster?
It's got a cover on it?
Yeah, it's got a cover on it.
Spin
Yeah,
cast.
you had probably 50 yards of line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what's this?
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
I never did that.
It's like the Snoopy rod.
Yeah.
The Snoopy rod.
right,
You know?
right. Yeah, so it'll bring back a whole different thing,
Big gauge, where now we can get maybe back to where, and then it goes into where we'll catch more yellowtail, those kind of things. Because you're finesse
absolutely.
fishing as
Yep.
opposed to, like you said, doing this all
Well,
day.
and then I think as it is right now, since there already are bluefin out there, you'll have that opportunity. But it opens up a whole new ball game. And when you mention the word albacore, people go bananas. I mean, it's just a whole craze, And it just would be fun to see those things back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, what's great right now? We've been having a lot of good rock fishing. So
Oh.
once this bluefin or whatever we start getting on comes up, whether the kelp patties or anything, it's going to be such a dual trip every time. I mean, you're going to have a lot of rods on the boat, but you're going to be able to, have your light fish and those kind of things that you can cook up, and you'll be able to get a few tuna out of it too. So it'll be nice. It's looking very well as of lately at either San Clemente Island or like we fished the Osborne lately, and it's been great. Even lingcod fishing.
Yeah,
So I mean,
that's awesome.
yeah, I mean,
That is.
lingcod. We had a couple that we reeled in that were on a fish that let go. And we had a couple last year, but to do that a couple times on a trip, that's a lot of fun.
I saw some of the very best rock fishing on our last day on our American Angler trip last year. Ray pulled in, and we flat out, not we, everybody except me, was nailing straight reds. I mean, big, beautiful reds. And I go in between a couple of guys, I drop it down, and I get two salmon group, and I go, you got to be kidding me. And then I move up the rail and squeeze in. Oh, they're all friends, fortunately. I said, get out of here, move. I drop down, reds, slimy. I'm going, okay. Smelling your hands.
Hey,
you
you
go,
know what
"All right,
somebody
wait,
did? They mess with your rod beforehand. That's what they do.
Oh
These
God, it
little
was
salmon
so,
grouper.
It was so funny. I mean, I had guys falling on the deck laughing.
And when you got a salmon grouper,
There
it's
he
like
is.
you're bringing up, a sea anchor, and it wiggles a little bit, but it's just a sea anchor coming up.
Yeah. So yeah, never know what we're gonna get. We have our fingers crossed. But I think with the cold water, I think that I like the indicators.
Well, I hope it sticks around. I mean, I'm hearing things that El Nino is going to, or La Nina, whatever this is, going to be over towards the middle of the season. So we'll see right when we get to where we normally get bit with Albacore around 4th of July.
Yeah.
We'll see what really happens, if it's going to kick one way or the other. So
Yeah, that's
We'll
awesome.
see.
And we know already we got the jackpot settlers out there already. They'll settle the jackpot, the bluefin.
Oh,
so
yeah.
there's no problem. But you bring albacore into the equation.
it's just been so long. It'll be nice to see that.
People will go absolutely nuts. And like for the sake of the LA boats and over here, Orange County boats and up the coast, if they hit the butterfly, they hit the interbanks of mushroom, stuff like that that's reachable. People come out of the woodwork. It's going to be awesome. And it's good revenue for everybody.
Yeah, like we said, it's reachable even on a full day boat. Something goes 5 to 5 or something, get out there, no problem.
People go absolutely nuts. So that could be the greatest blessing. And then you can go out and go settle the jackpot with a couple of drops. With the big 500 grains, 250s, or whatever it might be at that time. But yeah, you can settle
Depending
the
on
jackpot.
current, right?
Yep.
Depending on conditions.
All right, Cue Ball says, hello to the Friedman Adventures family, Phil, the finders of the tuna. We finally came through.
You did.
That's it.
You did.
Man.
Well, when you get them late like that, you know what the whole thing is? You go, if you're a captain, you can say, of course we got them late. We want to keep them fresh for you guys.
Right?
Heck
yeah. It's like, hey,
We'll
I
let
do
you
this
sweat.
on purpose. I'm
we
not
did,
here all
we
the
let
time.
you sweat for a little bit, but then we'll get you in the 9th inning. Yeah.
Hey, you can't go out there and kill them all in the first go round.
Right.
You got to let, we
Right.
got to warm up into it and make
Absolutely.
you get scared, the ups and downs.
You appreciate it a lot more that way.
Definitely. Because it's not always, we always talk about those trips that are, whale on them. Like I was just on a boat today doing our Coast Guard stuff, and it was like, oh yeah, last season we whaled on them here or there, this and that. And, it's actually those ones where it's like you come out in the 9th inning, you're like, that was the one that we did it on.
That's right.
That's
right. That's right.
All right, good stuff. Mackie wants to know, Danny, do you have any Rambo stories? Do you know Jim Hughes very well?
No, don't I really? Jim was over at Seaforth most of the time, and I was either at H&M or I was at Islandia. But I don't think Jim. When I was at Islandia, I had the Mustang and the Fortune over at Island, but we were the only 2 overnight boats there. I mean, most of the business generated out of Mission Bay at the time was all from the SeaWorld, the tourists and stuff like that. And Seaforth sustained itself strictly with the half-day fishing and stuff, and they were booming. And Island, we had the day boats there too, the half-day boats and everything. The Dolphin.
Because you can get to the Coronados on that, no problem. In
Yeah.
a half day, that's,
Yeah.
when that was killing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I did the
Oh, yeah.
Yellowtail Shootout a lot.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was like the thing. That's where we would catch fish, even though all the big fish would come out of Clemente. But it was still fun to rank in the top 20,
Sure. But yeah, no, I didn't. And that's why, I didn't. I thought my brother has, because he's been, down in there, and he ran the boats. We had Cherokee over at Island Air one year doing whale watch and everything. So Steve, worked with a lot of guys over at Seaforth and around. But no, I hadn't, missed out on that opportunity. I was around a bunch of other old farts.
All right, good stuff. Hey, Cue Ball is excited. You guys are talking about Albacore tonight. He also can commiserate with you, Danny. He says all he can catch is those stinky salmon
Slimies.
groupers. Good, man. So
What can
he
I
gets
say?
it.
I couldn't stop laughing. I always get smelling my hands. I go, but I got the stink.
Hey, well, I go back and forth. Like, last season, I was catching a bunch of starries, slow pitching, having a
Yeah.
good time, catching big starries and big reds. And then, like, these last couple of trips, it's like all salmon grouper. It's like, yeah, I have something real big. It feels good. And then it's like, oh, man, I'm bringing up a bucket. It's like, this thing is either going to be a cow cod or it's going to be a
Slimy.
a
The big
10-pound bucket mouth, So it's like, oh, man,
Fun
one way or
stuff.
the other.
All right, Chad Christopher is joining us now. He says, hello, gents. A 2-part message. First part, thank you, Phil and the Freedman Adventures family for an amazing fishing trip on the El Patron. The crew was amazing. Landed my first lingcod, and it was a big one. Chad, you were such a pleasure to have on board. Thanks for thinking of everybody. You brought donuts for everybody on that trip, and that was an exceptional catch. A really nice lingcod. It was great having you on that trip, that is for sure. Rob S., 120-pound metered braid to 80-pound top shot, Danny. Is that too light for bluefin tuna? Is that going to work? or
No,
not?
that's fine.
That's perfect.
That's great.
That's right on
You know?
point. The only thing that it is you your top shot. A lot of times you don't even need a top shot. You just need the braid because you've already have a crimped 200-pound or 250 or something.
Heavy mono.
Yeah,
or
that's
fluoro.
heavy mono. Normally it's
Yeah.
mono because you need a little bit of stretch rate because
Yeah,
it doesn't really
yeah.
matter. That's even 2
Yeah.
feet, 3 feet.
Yeah.
We do it on the boat. But normally people have those. You can buy them at the tackle shop for $5, $10 each
Sure,
or whatever, depending. And
Sure.
that's what you normally have. So literally what I do is I just take that, use it for a little bit, and normally it doesn't get chafed up either. So I use it a few times.
True, and
And
they're
then
not,
toss
at
it.
generally the times you're fishing it, it's at night anyway.
Exactly.
Right? So if you want a little cushion, you can
A little
put
longer,
yeah,
that kind of
make it a
thing,
little longer. Yep.
But I'm not trying to waste money, that even mono that big is expensive,
Yeah.
so you don't need very much.
Right.
And you definitely want to have it short enough where, no longer than your rod length is. I would say probably
Yeah,
less than
I agree.
even less than that. I've figured out that it's like to maybe your first eye.
When you start looking at diameter mono, when you get up in that size, you got line drag in the water. You may not realize that there is considerably more line diameter there than you would with Spectra.
Mm-hmm.
So to get it down quicker with less drag and have a direct fill, it's better not to have that longer length there.
Yeah, definitely, because you'll end up with it going down and being
Exactly.
scoped out at that
Exactly.
point.
Yep.
All right, Chad Christopher is back with us again, and he wants to know about moon phase, you two guys, so you can both chime in on this. He had a trip on the XL, and he said, wait a minute, this is on the full moon. I'm going to change it, and he changed it and got off that full moon, and now he set up his trip on the new moon. What do you think, Danny? What do you think, Jason? Have you seen good fishing on the full moon? Is it always bad fishing? What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Jason.
All right. Well, I have an opinion on this big time because I fish lobster. I have my own personal boat. I look at this stuff all the time. And what I think is to go just saying whether it's good or not on a full moon is not the thing to look at. You have to look at the whole celestial. You have to look at what the sun is doing at the same time too. What I look at and what I use is there's a couple apps and you can go on and you can see what the tidal coefficient is. Whereas how much movement is there going to be with the water. So it could be a full moon, but the sun is behind the moon too, so the high tide may be super high, and then the low might be super low, and it's on a full moon. So you would think it's great fishing for this, but not on that. Or it could be the other way work, because we all know what a no moon is. If you have a moon that doesn't look like anything, the moon is still there, it's still pulling, just the sun is someplace else. So you look at that too. So you definitely look at both ends of it. Look at what the wave pattern is. There's a lot of different conditional things that make it where, because a lot of people say, oh, it won't bite on no moon. And then you go out and it floats because there's no moon.
Yep.
And whatever light you put over, the squid come to it. There's that dynamic too, because I've been out to just say for lobster, we're all talking bluefin, but for the lobster season, if you're at Catalina, they don't like the light, so maybe no moon is the best. But you go on a full moon that has the same tide as what that no moon is, and it'll be the same kind of bite.
Yeah,
So-
it's weird because growing up, I fished with my grandparents every weekend, and my grandfather did not want to ever fish on the full moons. And yet, as I got older, I started doing more and more studies. Like when I was bass fishing, all my big trophy fish, the ones in the upper teens, all came during the full moon stage. And a lot of times it's just time of day, changes the time of day.
Yep.
But the movement, the current movements, not so much in the lakes. Although you got to remember the moon. That's a gravitational pull.
Yep.
So it does affect all the properties here on Earth.
The barometer type of thing.
tides, the
Yeah.
currents, and everything like that. So, and what I found too is that we've had, even on the sport boat, we've had some of our most phenomenal fishing, sea bass fishing, stuff like that on the full. And I think, to be honest, it's time on the water, but you're going to find, on a new moon or a full moon, you're going to have tough days here and there. But when I tracked it, particularly with my freshwater fishing, the bass stuff, all my big trophy days were on full moon phases. But on the boats, I never let it get to me. We just ran our business as it was, and
Hey.
it changes maybe the time of day a lot of times, your bite time.
Well, like I said, hey, there's a full moon and there's no moon. And when is that? Once a month? There's fishing in between once a month.
Yeah, they're not
so
gonna-
there's other things that have to do with it. So if you pay attention to, like I said, the sun and your current and even wave
Right.
pattern, that's going to, dictate, whether a no moon's going to hit or in the middle of the month's going to hit or not. It's not just, or it could be wind, it's
That's
not
true.
just,
That's true.
because the
A
this
lot
or
of times,
that.
a full moon, we did see a lot more wind too. A lot of times, so
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, the bottom line is putting that time on the water, folks, because I found it converse with many different things. And full moon, new moons, I got bit, I didn't get bit.
You know what's more
so it's
important than
time on the
moon and
water.
everything? Is conditions.
Yeah,
That's the main thing, is finding the conditions
Yeah,
that you need.
that's
And we were
true.
talking about before we came on, you could move 100 yards, 200 yards from a spot you were just at and have perfect conditions when you had crappy conditions, 100 yards that way.
Absolutely.
Great stuff. Albert Ponce says hello to the Friedman Adventures family, to Phil, Danny, and Jason. Q-Ball says moon with bluefin. He'd just as soon use a Ouija board to try to figure it out.
Right? That sounds about right.
He says he's seen both. So.
That's exactly
Burn-
right.
Burn the
That's
sage,
that's what I say.
Ricardo Villa. Ricardo, it's good to see you, my friend. Hey guys, finally hit the water this year on Saturdays overnight on the Freedom. What setup do you recommend using? Jason, you've been out a lot on the overnight trips.
Yeah.
You guys are probably fishing the same stuff as the Freedom.
Yep, definitely. I haven't been out because of Mother's Day. It's been 2 weeks, but pretty much, you want to bring from 20-pound fluorocarbon to, if you rather fish mono, you can, but from 20 to 40. If you're gonna do rockfish, you can jump it to 60. If you really want to get crazy into it, your spectra would be anywhere between 40-pound to 65-pound. The bait, when I last saw it, was medium size. There were some big ones. They kind of like the medium size. I would say have, a number 2, 4, 1/0 hook, depending on your style and preference. Depending on where they're fishing, we're probably going to be out at one of the islands. So bring your J hooks, bring your circle hooks if you like fishing them, or your J hooks, or not your J hooks, but your live bait hooks, for the sardine, that kind of thing. Bring your jigs for sure. Not a lot has been on service iron yet, but you can always fish your yo-yos like a service iron if it happens like that, but bring your irons. A lot of fish have been on irons. I know our last trip, all the fish were on it. The last 2 trips have been probably 90% on the iron. So bring that out for sure, which is always nice. But you know, bring your bass stuff too. I mean, we're fishing Clemente or we're fishing any of the islands really. You can get into the bass. We'll do some halibut drifts, you know. So we're just waiting for the tuna to come up. So definitely bring probably 3 rods. Have a live bait rig. Have something you can fish rockfish real hard, and then something that you can do a little medium dropper loop. You know, little 4 ounce. You know, it's the same kind of thing. You know, for halibut.
Yeah, and you're right. You never know what's going to be out this. Go prepared. Bring a bait stick.
Yep,
You
exactly.
never know. Those things show up and pop up. You're going to be saying, no, there's bluefin biting. I'm not going to get them too well with this canyon.
Yeah, exactly.
It's always good to have, you know, some backup there.
Yeah, you don't have to bring a lot of stuff. Just as long, I mean, all the hook
Sure,
sizes
sure.
have been pretty much the same. We were talking about you don't have to bring a whole tackle box anymore. It's like, you know, bring 3 rods, you know, some that's heavy because you can pretty much fish rockfish is the same you're going to fish your bigger bluefin or those kind of things. And then you have your medium size and then your light for fly lining and stuff.
That's true.
So.
And if you get down here, you know, and the, you know, the sport fish, or the, you know, the swim baits, fish start going off, you could always run right next door and go see Tony.
Yep.
And he'll get you set up. So.
Exactly.
But coming prepared is always is a great deal, you know.
All right, we're going to bring this back to Bluefin Tuna with Andrew H., who wants to know, he's going to be on a 3-day trip on the Islander. He wants to know what tackle should he bring on that trip. I can tell you that we were using those West Coast Jiggers HD jigs, like 280 grams were working good, but a guy up in the bow, Joe, he had a big bluefin on a 400-gram jig. So in terms of the jigs, I think you want to bring a variety. But Danny, what kind of tackle should guys be bringing? Jason, what kind of tackle are you fishing this?
Do you want to go
bluefin?
first or
No,
what?
go ahead, Jason. Go
There's
ahead,
that
Jason.
20 to 60 pound fish, and then all of a sudden that 150 to 200 pound fish is out of the picture, but you got to prepare for it.
Yeah. Well, I would say first off, you know, you're talking about big fish, or you want to be ready for night fishing, so have something that's going to be a shorter rod, heavy, whatever you can do. I fish a Saltiga 60 with a XXX Daiwa Proteus rail rod. So I have that I use for, you know, jigging or for, you know, sometimes, hey, just throw a bait on there, they're biting everything. So I have that. You want to have something heavy for sure. And you can always use that for rockfish or whatever you're doing too. It's fun and easy retrieve. Second one, I'd have a medium range something. Like I use a Saltiga 40, 65-pound braid, so I can put whatever top shot I need. So for fishing light, I can go, you know, 20-pound. I can go 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever I need, whatever they're biting. And then, well, me personally, I should say I don't bring 100 rods with me. So I usually keep it to 3 or 4. So those would be my 2 main ones. And then I'd have something that's a little lighter in case we're doing any kind of bass fishing or kelp patty fishing or anything like that. Same thing, you know, 50-pound braid, you know, be able to fish 20, 30, 40-pound, whatever you need. Small hooks. I mean, I wouldn't bring any big hooks. I would always keep it under 1020 and under, just because, you know, you have a heavy gauge, you can do that. And circle hooks are a must. Depending on what's going on, you know, you want to bring J hooks and be ready to, you know, do halibut stuff, because who knows, the wind could pick up. You could be at the island, who knows, coming in and out from bluefin. So, I mean, I would keep 3 to 4 rods, and then I like to change it up all the time, because once you catch a few fish, you want to clip off and change, you know, your leaders and your lines. And I fish real short leaders anyways, so that's the way. It's all on style of fishing, so that's the way I like to do it, because I'm compact. I work on the boat, so I can't have all this stuff. So I literally bring 2 rods, and that's what I do, or 3 rods. I have like a Lexa 400, I have the Saltiga 40, and I have the Saltiga 60. I'll sometimes switch it to a 30 or something in the middle ones, but when you're talking rods that much, you're just talking, or reels that much, you're talking about line capacity. That's all you're talking about, because they all have the same amount of drag. They all have 30, 25, 30, 40 pounds of drag, so it's no problem. I'm personally waiting till we get another popper bite, and then I can bring my Saltiga coffee grinder. I can start pulling on the popper and catch me 100-pounder, get my ass kicked for an hour, and that way I could be the one laughed at instead of, you know, me laughing at the customers. You know?
and
I want that.
all these years, I've never brought a spinning reel on the boat because with my bunch of friends, I get laughed off.
I had to buy $1,000 one to do it. I had to buy.
Well, okay,
there's
then-
no way I would
See,
bring.
then you're respectable.
Yeah,
but no.
and you know how many times
I-
I've used it? I've had it for a year and a half. I've used it twice.
Well, there's those times when you need it,
Hey.
and sometimes just the way you when you crank, you can get them to pop a little bit different because of the way you can just do this, and you'll see a popper just pop
Yeah,
differently.
we never pay attention, but all those guys that all the
Yeah,
nomad
it's a
stuff,
different deal.
it's a different beast. The way they
Yeah,
speed
yeah.
jig and all that stuff,
Yeah.
the surface popper stuff, it's a different beast. Wearing
Yeah.
gloves, I wear gloves.
See, like for me, if I hooked a big one on a spin rod, I'd be handing it off.
exactly. Hey, we do it all the time.
There you go.
Hey, we hand it around to everybody.
You
it's-
need one? There you go.
Load the bus. Next person. Next person.
Exactly.
Next person.
No, yeah, I just I'm old school about that, and I go probably with too much gear, but you know what? I don't want to get caught with not having the right tool, in the toolbox, if a certain situation comes up.
But you know the guy Murphy. He always, the one thing you don't bring is you need, right? When I see him, I'm gonna go kick his butt.
Yeah,
Every
no,
time.
it's true. It's true. I go down prepared because been fishing long enough. It's that one thing you said, doggone it, I could have killed him if I had this and this and this, and you know what? So I just bring it generally, and that's just the way I've always been.
And the longer trip you're on, the more that's going to happen,
Oh,
too.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
we're going to go bluefin fishing. Oh, now we're fishing the island for yellowtail. Or, so.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because when I do go longer, I do shy away from my real light stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Well,
you're not
nowadays,
prepared.
gear has changed so much that, like I said, I can go with 2 rods or 3 rods, use the same reel, same rod because it's fast action, and all I got to do is change my top shot or just my leader to 15 pound if I want,
that
and I
is
have
true.
it. And it fishes the same and just as well. Dude, just a bait caster, I use the 500s out, but I use Alexa a lot, and everybody laughs at me, but
they're great reels.
yeah, and I can
They're
kill
great
on them.
reels.
I mean, I've caught 50-pound, bluefin, and then catch, smaller fish on it.
Yep.
And all I got to do, clip it off and put 15-pound, or clip it off and put 40-pound
There
on
you
it,
go.
and it's the same
There you
difference.
go.
And
I fish
hey,
Alexa too. Yeah.
it's
with my
easy to
light
do
stuff.
this.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Hey, I'll see you at the rail.
All right, good stuff, guys. Lots of people, tons of questions. Matthew Tamayo, good evening, gentlemen. Thanks for the updates on the Cortez, Phil. Well, you can't see this guy who's behind me here, but Marcus is here, Mackie is here, and couldn't have done it without him because he was covering guys in the bow, I was covering guys in the stern. I was able to pump those updates out to you because he was out filming. So, Mackie, good job. Should I turn the camera around on you? Nope. No, he doesn't.
Aw.
He might break the camera. So
No,
we don't want to
shit.
do that. All right, and he wants to know what the bunks in galley were like in the rails. Rails are kind of low. The boat rides low to the water, which I love.
I love that.
Yeah, it's nice and low to the water. Bunks are just, like average bunks. There's some really high ones, like I would have to pole vault to probably get into one. But we let the young guys take those high ones. It was comfortable. There's some really big double bunks on there. Galley seats 12, I think. So it'll seat 12 for one meal, and then you can finish off with the second one. We only had 12 guys on our trip, so it went well. And the crew was excellent. Rambo's awesome. You couldn't beat it. It was really, really a lot of fun. Matthew, hope you have a great trip on that one.
Well, how big is the Cortez, anyways?
Like 60.
60, so it's like us, like the Amiga.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kinda like you guys, yeah.
That's a good old Seaway too. I mean, there's a ton of those good old Seaways built back in the day too. Bobby Staff, right over here in Wilmington. So built a great boat. A lot of them out there.
Where are the new boats? There's every boat. Is there a new boat that's been out that they've built specifically for sport fishing?
Not so much in glass.
Where's
Most
the
of
rich
them
guy
are
that's going to come out and say, "Screw this"?
They're probably going to get a glass boat because
Where's the
there's
last
no
boat? The
or
Intrepid?
still. Yeah. Well, let's see.
And then how long is
It might be-
that?
I have to. You
Older
we
than
gotta
me?
think about it. It's been a while.
Well, not older than me. I'm
It
sorry,
has-
but close.
It has been a while.
I mean, I went on the Independence. Oh man, what 2004 or 5, maybe 5, and then I come to find out it came out in 2003 or something. Like it was when it came out, and I thought I didn't know what I was getting into, to tell you the truth. I had never been on anything longer than like a day and a half, and I go on this, and I wasn't a chef or anything at the time, and I wish I was. But I baked the bread, did all this stuff. I was
Oh
just like,
yeah.
I was just amazed.
Well, we call those the longer range guys the Cadillacs.
Well, you know what it cost me then? The same as going on. I went on a 5-day fish Guadalupe. It cost me $1,200, and that was with like I tipped on top of it, but that was tip included for a 5-day. And then we got pissed because the XL went on a 6-day, and they went to Alejos, and they caught twice as many fish and fished for like half as much as us.
Oh my God! Well,
I had more fun fishing.
You got to face a lot of the costs right now. We could thank. I don't want to get political, but I'm going to get political. When we shut off the valve,
gas.
We shut off the valve.
Hey, gas is the main thing. The cost of food, the cost of
everything. Yeah.
Just one thing to say too, when there wasn't really a big competition either too. I mean, how many boats were out there doing that thing?
True.
What you had? Maybe 5 boats? What was it? The Polaris Supreme. The
Royal Polaris, the Red Rooster,
the XL. Those
Rooster, the Searcher. I mean, there was a few.
Well, and then there were
Spirit of Adventure,
the cool boats that like my father would go on. Like the Shogun that would do 10 days on a, not like it's a tiny boat, but it's not the same as going on the Independence,
Yeah.
It was a lot different,
foot,
going on those little small guys.
Yeah.
Well, not that they were small, but it wasn't, let's just say it was like more going to the fishing camp at Cedros or something than going on when you go on the Independence now or one of those, it's like gourmet dining.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah,
I mean, I can't keep up with that. Dude, the chef has a second that does everything for him.
Chef.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine if I had a
that's
sous
phenomenal. Yep. Yeah, there's no doubt.
And if you don't have that now, you're out the door. That's what's nice is now
it's competitive.
Unfortunately,
Extremely
the price has
competitive.
gone up, but whatever really boat you're going to go on, it's going to be good. And I always see should I go on this boat or go on that boat? You see like on the websites, and it's like, go on any of them, because if they're not good, then nobody's going to go on them, and they're going to be gone, and they're going to get sold to somebody that knows what they're doing.
Exactly. That's very true.
You got to keep up.
That's very true. Yep.
Hector X says he loves the show, guys. We love you watching, Hector. Thank you so much. Hoping you guys can help me. I own 3 setups. Speedmaster 20, Tyrannos 16, Tranx 500. How should I spool these reels, and how should I use the Tyrannos 16? Who wants to take that? Jason?
I'm not into all the reels and everything. I know some of them, so I know what I would do, because it's easy, is just put 65 braid on everything, unless it's your heavy shit, and then put 100 pound, and then you could do everything else, because I'm an easy, simple person. But you can always get into, you're way more scientific into the breaking points and everything.
Yeah, and your drag pressures that you generate.
Yep.
Yeah, it goes into that. Looking at the capacities and looking at, the other thing you got to do, it's not just the reel, you got to match everything. Your rod has to match with the reel, and I'm very particular about that.
What's another thing too is you got to match that, but you got to match the way you fish, because like me, I know how to fish, so I'll fish with my thumb. So I do things like where I will fish in super high, like super lot of drag, and I know just to barely put it in gear because I know my gear, and I'll use my thumb, or so I get a lot more range out of my 2-speed. Because that's the way I like to fish. Some other person may not like it. So it's about how your style is too. You may I use a star drag because I can tighten it down easy, So that's part of it too.
The problem is you don't want to be playing with the star drag when you're fighting a fish.
But if you're a perfect fisher, that's like your key,
Yeah.
People, it's like baseball. It's the way the batter is. I see, because why I say that is because I see every day. I look and see, you're a Guggen. You don't know what you're doing, and I see that guy catch so many fish. And maybe not catch more fish than anybody, but they know what they're doing, and it's like they're not even doing the right thing that I think is it, and they're still killing it. So it's all about being comfortable with the way that you're doing it and manipulating that style to what you're doing.
Well, yeah, you got to know your tackle.
Yep.
That's it. I mean, each individual outfit, right. I agree. Each specific outfit is for me, for a certain line class, for a certain, whether I'm
because we're professionals, we have it down to where we know.
You have to make it effective. You really do. Yeah.
All right. Cue Ball says the best way to take bluefin tuna consistently is dynamite and hand grenades.
And time on the water. That's number 2 to hand grenades and
dynamite and hand grenades would be a little tough. You better have a real big net.
Or
they don't float. Tuna don't float.
All right, Rob S. He says this will be the first time I'm fishing the Baja Islands and the Baja Coast on the XL. 3 days. What should I prepare for regarding gear? And then Cue Ball chimes in. You guys can add or subtract this. He says, 2 300-pound bite leaders, big bluefin, got teeth, good assortment of knife jigs, rigged up, smaller, and the heaviest, the best. You want to add or subtract?
Yes, to that. I want to. The thing is, you don't need. I'm telling you right now, do not have all your stuff rigged, because it's so much easier. And I took this away from slow pitch jigging to have your hook, because your hook size is going to be the same, and you have it where you take your jig off over and over, and you use 1 leader. There's no reason to waste 20 liters on 20, or not 20. No, it's not 20. But even to have 5, you don't need to have 5 liters on 5 rigs and do that. No, tie 1 knot to 1 leader, boom. If you catch a fish, cut it off, do another leader if you really want to be a professional. You know, if I was fishing tournament, that's what I would do. And do it that way. You don't have to have all of them rigged up. They rot away. You know how many jigs I have in my father's even that are still rigged up and they're melted together, and it's like, what am I going to do? I'd rather just have the jig and that than have all this big pile of stuff.
Yeah. See, I'm the other way. I have them all rigged separate.
You have them all rigged separate?
I have them all rigged separate because I got it for different things.
Well, I'm lazy. That's why. Well, I'm not lazy. I work on the boat. I can't carry everything. Yeah. So I keep it to the most minimal. That's why we're perfect. I'm minimal, and you'll take everything you need to balance it out. So, but yeah, you know, it's...
Yeah, there's nothing like saying, yeah, I got that in my fishing shed. It's at home. And I don't want to be there.
Well, you know what you
That's
do?
why I didn't buy it.
You put a what do they call it? The frame, and you put that in the frame for the...
All right, good stuff, you guys. Lots of people watching. More questions coming in. Kevin is going to ask you to look into your crystal ball, and this is a legit question. He's going to ask you about the future. Let me just tell you two guys something, though. Before we got bit yesterday, I get a message from Diego Nuno on the Royal Star, and he tells me they're going to bite tonight. And I message him back. I go, why are you saying that? And he goes, because every time they bit, we've seen them in the daytime. We haven't been seeing them in the daytime for 2 days. We saw sheets of them today, Phil. Get ready.
Breezers?
He nailed it. Yeah, breezers.
Breezers?
Flat spots, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Color spots. So he nailed it.
Cool.
So
Awesome.
Kevin is going to say to you guys, hey, do you recommend I do a 1.5 or 2 day trip right now, or should I go this weekend, or should I delay a weekend? He said, based on current bite and conditions as of today, and you gotta think here, guys. Some of these people are on a budget.
Yeah.
So I know we like to say, "Oh, go fishing," but some guys can't do that. What do you tell this guy?
Let me pull up my knot tied number 1.
I think if
ahead,
you're looking at that, I'd take a look at projected weather conditions for one. You know, as long as it's not blowing too hard, it gives you an effective, way to get down to these fish on the drop. So look at the weather conditions. I think that would be the most thing, and it makes your trip a lot more comfortable too. But look at that, and the fleet, the concentration on the fleet as you get to the weekends. There's going to be more boats, but that also means there's going to be a wider coverage area. So I think your opportunity there,
and more talk between everybody
we call it
too.
the dope, the dope, and that's the dope that goes around on the radio. You'll be able to, you'll see. When you see them all, everybody stopped out there, baby, get ready. So, having the coverage, even though having more boats on the water splits up the fleet, it also increases your chance of being on the fish too.
I think I would say is, I personally would rather be a part of the count than wait. That's my thing. So get out there and fish. I'd rather be, because you know what happens. Oh, I saw the count, then I go and you don't catch nothing. You know.
Right.
But like, I'm just looking at this weekend, so I'm looking at tidal coefficients. We're looking at like Sunday to Monday being like 70, which is decent. So that means there's a lot of movement, which is nice. So I would say go. But if you want to put it off and wait, it all depends where you're fishing. If you're going to go to San Diego, yes, we're up here. I'd wait. Another, week or so, just see what happens. I mean, the weather's been nice, so everything should be moving up. But I mean, like I said, it's all up to you. And hey, we all seen the one boat go out there and catch all the fish because nobody else is going. And that's happened with us.
And you know what? You have to go. You have to go to know. Too. So I mean, last Last year I had my 8-dayer canceled. Not canceled, but it was cut back to a 5 because the weather was horrific.
Yep.
And sure enough, you know, Ray and Brian were right because when we got out there, it was victory at sea. And they weren't letting any of the small boats out of the harbor, 65-footers and stuff. We got out there, and I'm going to tell you, we took some over the bow, and I was about halfway, and about midship, and we got soaked.
Yep.
And I had full skins on, and but the fish bit. And I mean, we're in this big swell, big breakers. We took some over the rail. That's how hard it blew that first night. But we were in a bite, so it didn't matter.
Yep.
I had to put my boots down the engine room because I filled them up with water because they came down the scuppers and it was higher than my boot.
It doesn't really matter when you're catching like that.
And and you're right. It didn't matter because we were bit, And then each day progressively the weather laid down. But we wouldn't have had that bite if we weren't out there.
Yep.
So.
And the one thing too is even if you go on the trip like that, if you're going to go this weekend or whatever, you don't get in the bluefin, there's always going to be a backup of bass and fishing for rockfish and catching lean cod, like we've been saying, catching a lot of lean cod now because we're able to fish a little deeper in those kind of cool spots. So, I mean, even if you go out there and it's, man, how many times we've gone for bluefin or bust, and even the whole boat catch and me or you don't catch nothing. It happens. You know,
and like I said, there were less people out there in the fleet, so your coverage is a little less, it's more limited. But the fact that we knew there were fish out there, I would give that opportunity. I would take that opportunity. It's just like when I freshwater bass fished. Man, I wanted it to blow, and I wanted it because I had anchors that could hold. Not too many other had 2 anchors on each side, double anchors, double Danforths. So I could hold in a blow. So it blew the fishermen off the boat. The guys, the fair weather guys, they wouldn't fish. They'd stay home. So well, guess what? If I could have all the different spots to myself that don't get hit, and you have that much more coverage.
Yep, a little coverage area, inside, yep.
I'll take that, and I'll take the beating a little bit for the fish. And that's kind of the way, the situation, the scenario ran when we went on that. And it was just really the first day. And, we ran into the island to throw asleep at Clemente, and then we shot back out. And they bit all day, all night, which is brutal for the poor crew. All the crews. It's brutal,
Filet and filet and filet.
But,
and up all night.
You have to be out there.
But you know what? Actually, to tell you the truth, like you were saying, like you can always tuck in when it's windy and that. Like the last trip I was on was a couple weeks ago or a week and a half ago, and it was super. I was like, I'm surprised we're gonna get out.
Yeah.
And we were able to tuck in to Clemente, and I thought we would go home. We're on a day and a half, and we're fishing till I was about to do dinner. We're catching bass way inside the island. It's blowing 30 knots outside anywhere.
Like sitting in the lead.
Yeah, we're sitting in the little lead. Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
And it was great fishing. I want to start dinner. These guys are just tagging on every bass. Like, we're throwing all of them back mostly. Only a couple of them kept, but it was so much fun just even to catch fish like that. Especially, because, you can catch a bunch and try for sport fish and that. And when that doesn't happen, what do? Just have fun with the light stuff and ha and have a good time with everybody, because what's number one while you're out there is have fun.
Exactly.
We want to kill, number one, we want to kill fish and we want to eat fish. But when it comes down to it, if we don't catch a thing, it's still, catch a buzz and have a good time with everybody. Whether you drink or you want to just hang out, it's about being a camaraderie with everybody. That's
absolutely.
Yeah, and just talking shit about our last trip and whatever was fun. And, that's what the main thing is meeting a bunch of people.
Well, you got to be out there. You got to be out there to.
Yeah, you can't do it on your couch and looking at YouTube.
Sitting there looking at fish counts and everything. It's not going to do it, folks. You got to be on the water. That's the bottom line.
All right. Well, you've convinced Kevin. He said he's going to go for it this weekend, boys. And
so he could be a part of the count.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I say be a part of the count. Don't be left in the dust.
Best of luck to you, Kevin. Get him.
Yeah.
We hope you get him.
Absolutely.
Cue Ball says he's going this weekend. Can't wait. The bite has just jumped off again after a few slack days. It's time. Early season before they get educated, he's saying. And he said it's enough to just be out on the water. He loves just being on the water.
Absolutely.
Like we just said, that's the whole point, is talking old fishing trips, talking about your dad. You're talking about, like for me, my father's passed away, so talking about trips I went with him and trips with my brother that's passed away too, and laughing because he didn't like fishing and would talk shit all the time. Oh, are we going? The classic person that comes up, when we going home? We just started fishing. Like, that kind of stuff. You know, that's the fun, and rousing each other and messing, you know.
Exactly.
That's the fun part. You
That
know?
is,
Catch a
absolutely.
fish. You know what everybody does to me on the boat? All the crew, because I catch so much. Yeah, right. You know, I've realized that they'll hit my drag, and now I know. I put my thumb on it. They think they can get me. I got them every time.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that's
yeah,
the fun
yeah.
part.
That's
You
all
know.
right. That's right.
You know, nick your friend's line. You know,
Oh, my God.
there's a million fun things
Listen,
you can do.
we used to do some really stuff. We had to quit doing it. But we get up in the middle of the night only with real good friends. We would strip off a whole bunch of line, cut it, and wind it back on. And the guys would make we were all looking down the rail as these guys, they make the cast, and the minute they launch it, we're all going like this, and all of a sudden you see the line just keep going, and all of a sudden the reel goes, super fluffy. And we had to quit doing that because you never knew if you're going into a good stop or
Yep.
something, and you really mess up that opportunity. But we did it enough to
Yeah,
get
you
some
just
good
have a
laughs.
backup. Hey,
did
we all got a
enough.
backup.
Yeah.
Here you go, buddy.
And you do that to your very best friends. See?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, that's when you know you got good friends. When they do
Exactly.
shit like that to you.
Oh, absolutely.
Good stuff. I remember doing all that stuff in Morgan.
Yeah.
Rob S., I'm getting older. Does it matter when he's night jigging to have a longer rod, or can he stick to his 5'6" California tuna pole for tuna?
I like it shorter.
Yeah, I feel
6'5" or something like
Yeah.
that. It might be 7, but I
when
mean, it's
it depends on the composition of the rod too. And I'm going to be using a prototype straight graphite. So, I mean, it's going to be about a third of the weight or less than anything out on the market for a rail rod.
Mm-hmm.
But I can guarantee you one thing: it's going to recoil a lot quicker. So there's a lot to it. But you have to be able to fish it right.
yeah,
you know.
you got to
But
and follow
it's-
you even when
it's
you're
super light, but it's going to recoil faster. I mean, it's a high performance stick, but you have to understand that.
you got to pay attention pretty
Yeah,
much.
exactly.
You can't just fish it. You got to pay
That's
attention.
exactly it.
Because you got to look, even with something like that where you have a lot of bend and all that, you have to pay attention when you're going
yeah.
up and over the,
Yep.
especially as crazy as it was last season. Jeez, man.
Absolutely.
It was wild out there.
Yep.
Imagine trying to cook on that. It was a lot of fun.
Hats off to all you cooks. You guys are the best. And
Well, you know what I said? I was like cooking in a regular kitchen. I was like, how can I make this more difficult for myself? Let's go on a boat that moves like this. And then you're not even like on a sailboat where everything moves with you too. It's like flat. So it's like I'm listening in like, oh, are we going to rock? And I got to run in there and grab some stuff real quick. Like, it's a lot of fun. Last season was fun.
take care of the chefs, guys.
All right, Cue Ball says, if you fish your gear, it doesn't go to spit. Mackie says he's talking about you packing kind of minimally. He does the same thing. He says Danny is the guy you two guys go to when you run out of gear.
Always, because I know Danny.
Yeah.
And I know he gets his shit for free. He's the first person I go to. But no, in all seriousness, note, on that kind of even note is, well, I'm luckily enough because we do a lot of charters, but even not, people bring extra stuff and everybody is very giving on stuff. I mean, unless it's lead that weighs a lot and costs a lot.
It's amazing.
But people will give anything and everything to let you use it. And I mean, even I was doing that. I used to pack real heavy and do that, and then like it was just I just had so much gear. It was just a pain to have it around me. But that's where it's nice is I know that if I came to somebody like Danny, you'd be like, no problem, I have plenty. You know, even if you didn't have, you as long as you had plenty. But even if you paid for it, it's
and we've been there. And I know to me, it's more important for somebody to catch their first fish than for me to catch another fish. It's way more important. I mean, I've been in the industry long enough, and from different ends of it too. As far as a captain, as far as having landings, it's to promote the business. And that you have to have that goodwill, and that's what it's all about. I mean, we go out there, so I get more fun out of telling the old stories, laughing and joking. How, Phil, we're real serious out there, but
on the rail.
Think about that.
The whole time.
Those trips when you go out there and you laugh your behind off and you have a great time with people, regardless if you catch fish or not, it makes it. So it's a great combination when you have both going for you. You're catching fish and you share it. For me to have another fish is no big deal. But, to hook and hand somebody that's never caught one or whatever it might
or have
be.
them come up, let me use that jig and I caught it on there. I've had that happen a bunch of times.
Absolutely.
It's That's where it's at. It makes you
That's where
feel
it's
good.
cool. Absolutely.
Yep.
That's where it's at.
And where you're kicking back, you see people fishing hard because they want to fish hard. That they're just starting or whatever. It's like I like to see that into it because me, I pay attention to conditions, and I know I got to be on the boat. I do have to pace myself. I can't cook and fish 20 hours out of the day. I'd like to, but I can't.
Right.
But it's so nice because people always will give up their whatever tackle it is.
Sure.
Because it's pennies on the dollar, to tell you the truth, just on memories.
Yep.
And what happens, you say something happened, oh, let me get you a beer, let me get you whatever it is, like they're so happy in the end of this.
Absolutely. That's what it's about.
And they come over and pat you on the back, yeah, I got it on your jig, or like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's where it's at.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That's what it's like making you come back over and over again. Not that we wouldn't come fishing all the time anyways, but it's like when you go golfing, you hit the perfect shot. It's like, that's why I come back, because you have a shitty time the rest of the time, and you catch the one fish, and it makes it the best trip in the world.
That's right. That's right.
All
That's
right,
awesome.
very good. Rob S. is laughing about you saying catch a buzz, Jason. He said Joe screwed it up with gas prices and food prices, less beer. Oh, a little political statement there, it sounds like.
Let's start going.
Yeah, you want to
Well,
move ahead? Or
yeah,
go ahead. You
it's-
want to say anything?
No, it's brutal. I mean, we have to remember part of that is political. Why in the world would we shut off our own fuel valves and export stuff when we're sitting on the big reserves? I mean, if you look at the cost of fuel and everything else, which is a big component right now, of the cost, we just have, we need to have somebody that understands that, why would you go off and
Whether it is
whether
it is T or B, that's not the point. The point is having people in there that'll do something for us.
that
that
we need
look
somebody that's
at
going to help us overall.
the people, not just themselves.
Right. Right.
I hate to get political, but damn it, Scott Buchert for president.
Scott, you
I've had it.
approved.
Yeah. All right, Robert Graver says, good evening, Phil, Danny, Jason, and the Friedman Adventures family. Rob S. says, remember the waterproof M80s to scare off the sea lions? He's talking about seal bombs. Cue Ball says.
No, those were seal bombs. Those
Okay.
were our only homemade ones.
I got a good story on that one, Phil.
Can you tell it though?
Oh yeah, I can tell.
It's 20 years out. It's not gonna.
And I was still I was Taka's second on the Mustang, right? And there was Steve Tanaka, Marty Tanaka. We were all on the boat, and we're on this second day of trip. The night we're just going into the night, the first day. Excuse me, and we just stopped adrift, and some of the guys put out put out the rods, and somebody catches a big blue shark. So we're going, oh, crap, the blues around, forget the Albacore.
We're not
and
doing
stuff
shit
like
now.
that, right?
That's like the shutdown.
So we gaff it. I know we probably get put in jail for something like that these days, but we gaff it, open up the mouth, stick a beer can.
We snap them off and get them off and let them go, just so everybody knows.
It was aluminum. It was back, they were kind of steel.
The
steel. Beer cans were put in the mouth, and we took an M80, lit it. Now, this is Steve Tanaka. We had Marty Tanaka, myself, we were all on there, right? So Steve, we light an M80, throw it down the shark. We start lowering it down. Nothing. So I said, hey, just hold it down there. Hold it down there. Just leave it down there. Well, nothing. So, okay, we go, okay, wait, we'll get another one. So we get another M80, right? We light it, we throw it in the mouth. As it barely hits the water, I guess both fuses went. And that's equivalent to what? Almost a quarter stick of dynamite, two of those M80s.
Oh, and they were the good ones. The ones.
Oh, yeah, no,
those are the Chinese or whatever they were, where they were sealed on each end.
It was waterproof. It was
Oh, I
real
remember
deal.
my dad had those.
So all of a sudden, kabloom! And and this Jerry Long, it was his charter. It was actually Taka's neighbor, right? So Steve Tanaka is standing there holding the gaff. His hat is like this now. And there's shark teeth up on the hat. He's got scratches from the shark teeth. And I mean, there's pieces and chunks of meat that went up to the top of the wheelhouse, and it was just everywhere, right? And we just were laughing so hard, it was funnier than heck. Now, Jerry Long, big German guy, he and his brother Jack and the whole group, real clowns. A lot of those guys work for Mattel, so they'd always have these toys and stuff they bring on the boat and stuff.
I used to cook for Mattel back in the
They
day.
did.
Yeah,
Well, probably the same
corporate
guys.
office.
Okay. So anyway, chunks of meat everywhere. Well, Steve had these scratches from the teeth and everything, and we're just going crazy. And Jerry Long, big German guy, he goes, aha, aha. He's looking at all his Buddha heads. He goes, that's what those guys look like at Pearl Harbor. And we stinking died. But I mean, you know.
We do not condone this story.
These are some of the, you know what you do. These are old time, 2-day trips, that we entertained ourselves with. But I mean, you talk about having great times and memories and Phil, that just came up. It just brought back that memory about doing
That's
that
so
one
funny,
thing, but
too.
it was unbelievable.
We do not condone this message.
Yeah.
But man, that's like stuff that happened back in the day. It was amazing. We do a lot of fun stuff now and do stuff, but it's just that's where things that happen that are out there that just come up and
Yep.
All right, Hector X, I'm going out in 3 weeks. I haven't decided whether I'm going out at 22nd Street Landing or H&M Landing. Good luck, you guys, going out this month. Hope you get them. Hector, that is very kind of you.
well, I'll tell him if you want to go for cheaper, you come to 22nd Street Landing. If you want to go more expensive, you go to San Diego. So by that time, I think we'll be already in Bluefin because we're going to be in June kicking. So
Yeah. Things will change by that time.
yep.
The Sergeant of Arms just came in.
The
Tony
big boss.
Gonzalez. He's watching over us. You want to be on camera, Tony?
Not at all.
Okay.
What? You didn't want to do an interview?
Come on,
man.
Tony. You guys know who to look up when you come down here, guys.
Go
Right.
see Tony.
He's the big guy.
man.
He's like,
He
nobody
He
wants to
is
see
the
me now.
man.
No pictures. I don't want to be seen here.
I can't be.
No, I can't
be known
blame-
to be
I can't
cohorting
blame
with
you
these
there.
Hooligans.
I want people to know that I know you guys.
Yeah, these guys are blowing
Yeah, you
things
can't-
up and
you can't
everything
be
out here
cahoots-
now.
Cahoots
Yeah.
with us, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, what's that stick?
Aw, we're putting Tony on. There.
Yeah, oh, Tony's on.
Hey,
There you go.
Hey, he's the brains of the operation,
There
folks.
he is, everybody.
Come down to
We're
22nd
on
Street.
something.
Yeah, right.
I don't even know if I got him on. Probably not.
Yeah, you did.
Did I? Okay,
Yep.
perfect.
It's gonna pop up right now. I have it on my phone right here.
All right, Rob S. He is loving the show. Puck, yeah. I know, Rob. I know who you are. Robert Graber. Oh, we already got that. Ken Trenholm. Hello, Friedman Adventures family. Just wanted to thank you, Danny. I've learned a lot from you about sport fishing and bass fishing. I've been catching a bunch of bass thanks to your help, Danny.
Oh, that's great. I mean, and you know what? It never ends. And keep this in mind as a fisherman, any fisherman. If you can't learn something new every time you go out, you're not looking hard enough. Because I mean, I am compelled to, and I always do. There's something new that I learn every time I go out. And so you never stop learning. If you do stop learning, you might as well hang it up. If you think you know it all.
I think
hang it
it's
up.
boring, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, catching. That's why I call it fishing, not catching, right? If you caught every time, eventually it'd be boring. It's like winning all the time.
Yeah.
You know.
But
It's-
your odds, the different things that you've seen and tried, there may be that opportune time that makes that skunk day into a great day.
yeah,
So you
we all
just
have
don't
our
know.
honey holes.
Exactly. Yep.
Even hooping and everything.
Yeah,
I got
absolutely.
I'm just gonna go because we ain't got
Absolutely.
nothing and throw the Hail Mary and get on it.
That's it.
Michael Krikovich, you know that guy? He says he's going to see you June 21st on board the American Angler. He's looking forward to
Awesome. Yeah, we're gonna have a blast. We are gonna have a blast. Who knows? But we're gonna have at that point too. You just never know. Well, I still wanted to get down to Lejos. I miss the Lejos. And well, hopefully those big fatties are still waiting for us.
Yeah.
But I want to do some of those again and swing outside and finish off with all the other guys.
Yeah,
many
bust all the
days?
wahos.
8 day. 8 day.
that's
That's
perfect.
in June. So yeah.
Yeah, was
it
it
gives us
a
an
day and a
opportunity.
half or two down and two back and
yeah,
three
done.
fishing?
And the other thing is that too, Ray and Brian have this unit that reads subsurface water temp. So we veered off the straight line a lot of times, and I can remember, a couple years ago we did that. Who was it? The XL was ahead of us, and they went straight to the rocks. And we were veering off because they found subsurface water temperature there, and we caught fish going down both days in that water in between.
yes, just on the break, huh?
Just in the breaks. And bluefin, we had some yellowfin, we had mixed stuff in there, some yellows on patties and things like that. But we basically still straight lined it. Then we got down there the same night, but we got down there several hours later and get pulled in.
It's
and-
already night. Who cares? You know,
Yeah.
like what you do?
Oh,
Drop
yeah.
a loop fish for yellowtail? Like what the hell?
Oh,
And sit
that's
there
what
in
it
a
was.
chair?
So we got there, and I could look over, see the XL, nobody's on deck, and figure, oh, they're all tanked up already. So we had an empty tank. We all put out the snaggers. We got our salamis.
Oh yeah.
For the salamis, fill up one of the wells. I mean, my first drop, I'm fishing a 12-aught hook. It never made bottom, and I mean, they were pigs. You know, I don't think we had anything under 30. I mean, it was all big from there, the 40s, mid 40s. You know, and it was just phenomenal.
I think
In
a
fact,
lot of-
I didn't even keep a limit.
I
because
think people
I
don't
looked
even
at-
realize how hard those fish pull. Like, oh, we're all used to fishing bluefin and all this stuff, and
No,
they don't
no,
realize
no,
what a yellowtail, a moss
no,
bag will do to you.
No, and we're fishing 100, so it didn't. You know, it was
You
putting
got
some-
to turn and
putting some
burn. You're
pressure
gonna
on
get
you.
rocked.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely fun stuff.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we were done before sunup. It was unbelievable. Yeah.
Mike Krinkovich
never know.
goes for the rocks and the ridge.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Can't go wrong with that for
Nope.
sure. It's just a long trip. You got to have a trip
It
that's
is.
6 days or more.
It is.
If you're going, it
It
has
is.
to be 6 days or more.
But you know-
Otherwise, you're traveling too much.
And you know what the
it's-
irony was? We caught fish every day because we had that water. There's some, you found the sub.
Yeah, you said a
surface
kelp patty
temperatures.
here or
Yeah,
there.
and we caught, we scratched fish all the way back too. So, we actually caught fish 8 days out of 8 days. It was
Watching
un-
movies and catching
unreal.
fish and eating
Yeah.
food. What the
No,
hell?
It doesn't get any better.
That sounds like a trip to me.
No, it was unreal.
Rob S. says, have to keep learning Skinner out here. He said it was Skunk City until he worked that lake to find the coves. Have you fished Skinner? Do you have any experience?
No, I haven't. I fished a couple lakes out there, but like Vale and but I didn't fish Skinner.
All right, boys. Well, we're running out of questions here unless you guys have
Okay.
another topic. Jason, anything? How about
No,
trips on the Amigo coming
Yeah,
up?
I can talk about that.
There you go.
Well, we don't have a whole bunch coming up. We have a few trips coming up towards the end of the month. I was talking with you, Phil, about it. We have like 2 that are during the week that are like leave on a Sunday, come back on a Tuesday, day and a half, that are $400, so they're cheaper than what they normally are. They're only $100 more than what an overnight is, which is great. So you get
Yeah.
that kind of night
Yeah,
fishing
that's
thing in
awesome.
too.
Yeah.
And who knows, they might come up and might be on Bluefin, even though lately it's been being at one of the islands and doing that kind of thing. But towards the end of the month, I know there's one that leaves on a Friday. It's already has, like 8 reservations or something. So we just need a couple more to make it a go. I think it leaves on a Friday, comes back on a Sunday, and it's literally like, what is it, May 28th and 29th or something like that. And that would be a great trip to jump on because we're getting right into that time frame if the weather stays good.
You don't know what's going to be out there.
That's
You
what I'm
just
saying. It's
don't
hard to
know
say right
what's gonna-
now, and even
Yeah.
like I'm talking about,
Yeah.
it's like
Could be
next
happy
week we kind
times.
of have some reservations, and it's that following week we have like 3 day and a half trips, and that day and a half puts us where we can get down south enough if we want to fish, or if they're coming up, we can get on that bluefin hopefully in the evening, that night, and come back and. Can't go wrong. I always tell everybody, whenever you book a trip, try to go and add that extra half day on there. If you go on a 2-day, try to get a 2.5 day. If you know a day trip, get a day and a half, because then you get dinner, you get to take a nap, sleep the night away, wake up early in the morning, and then go home instead of fishing and then having to drive home right after, dead tired,
Yeah.
it's just a lot
That's
nicer to
true.
do that.
Relax.
So take a look. Go on 22nd Street Landing, look it up. I think we have like 4 trips. We might have one lined up next week. But I know there's like probably 3 in a row that go on at the end of the month. So,
Oh,
and those
that's
are
awesome.
looking perfect.
That's
'Cause, I mean,
awesome.
you guys are down there 50 miles down, 60 miles down, catching, bluefin. By that time, if there's not a lot of weather, I think we're going to be getting into it. They got to be between here and the border by then, right? So
Yeah.
that's what I think. So, I mean, jump
That's
on, take a
awesome.
look. And hey,
Sounds good.
the Freedom's doing, overnights and that. And then we're going to switch up in June to doing overnights, a lot more of those, because we figure they'll be closer up here. So there'll be some open parties on there. But I mean, we're pretty much full on charters. So if you see an open party, jump on it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm
for
going to
sure.
be rigging this next week or two. I'm going to be doing all my rigging for my Bay of Los Angeles trip. Steve, you told me to probably do some footage for us, Phil, that we could probably send back to you
Fantastic.
too. But I get so pumped that on that stuff. So I'm re-rigging, and I had to buy extra hooks. I'll take the stock hooks off all these lures and put them,
yeah.
with that little extra heavy stuff. And so I mean, it's a whole another different
Process,
ball
yep.
game, different set of tackle, but it's all good. It's all good. It's fishing, guys.
All right, hey, we got more questions now. Pando
Let's do it.
56. I kind of have seen this trend, but see if you guys. He says, have you guys seen this trend? The past few years, I've noticed the early season bluefin tuna in Mexican waters will bite the sardine. Around July, they get keyed in on micro baits once they move into U.S. waters. Have you seen that?
I don't think it depends on whether it's Mexican waters or U.S. waters. It just depends on what they're biting on. Because I'll tell you right now, every fish we bring over the side, we would like to pull all the guts out and all that, but we get kind of crazy. We can't do it. But we always pump their stomachs and see what comes out of them. And I've seen micro squid. I've seen those salps. I've seen small sardine. I've seen every kind of whatever little fish you think they could eat from. We think they're, oarfish, and I've seen them eat everything. So it just depends on what they're keying in on. The last year there wasn't a lot of red crab, but the year before there was. So it's all about just seeing what they get into. So it's not necessarily about what they're on in Mexican waters or in our waters. It's just what they're eating, what they key in on. And sometimes it is micro, and then other times you see them with all your chum in their throat. So see the hatch, match the hatch.
Yeah. Well, and it's neat because, it used to be that the people thought that the fish always went across the ocean, always across the Pacific all the way to Japan and back. But you know what? We're finding out now. Why would you? When you have the food supply and sources.
When you have a couch and a TV, you can sit there and munch around, popcorn.
I'm not going to, go from my couch a couple miles away to come back, grab something to eat when I can go to the refrigerator, So I mean,
and you can send your dog there, you send the seal over there, or the dolphin over there to figure it out for you, and
you got it
on it.
You got it.
Hey, hit that like button, everybody. Couple more questions. Rob S says, yellowtail groin bruises kick my butt. Do or put the rod in your crotch?
Yeah, I do that. I stick it in my belly button. But the longer the rod, it's going to get you the worse. So, yes.
I get it under my arm.
Yeah. Well, you know what happens to me is I try to put it in my belly button or, that kind of thing because I don't wear a belt. I have a belt with my stuff on it. And you know what happens? I'll go home and I'll lift up my shirt and I'll have all these. It looks like I went to a paintball game. I went paintballing. I got all these freaking black and blue marks. Like, what the hell is this shit?
Yeah.
And that's what happens to me. And it's like, oh, now I remember I caught this 30-pound fish. That's what did me.
Well, for me, it's perfect being short because the reel is here and the rod is there.
Let me check your underarm then.
You never have to get that, and it's giving you the maximum lift at these lower angles anyway. So it's perfect. Doesn't get any better than that.
I'm not tall, but still it gets me. It depends on the boat,
Albert Ponce needs help. He needs your help, Danny. He's going to be involved in the Lake Elsinore fishing derby, and he wants to know, do you have any tips for gear and techniques for catching wipers? That's a cross between striper
and
something else. What is it?
Striper and
I don't know, but I know they catch a lot of catfish and stuff out of Elsinore too.
It is a cross,
Yeah.
but I can't mind driving a blank on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do you have any tips on that?
No, I've never. I've never fished Elsinore. But I guess everything's
big
full.
It's
I
getting big
heard
now.
it's full.
Well, not only that it's full, is they have a nice marina and everything down there now, and then because of Pachanga and all that stuff, it's skydivers. They do a lot of stuff down there now. If you ever watch one of the fishing shows, they always show it all the time. Dan Hernandez or one of those shows, they're always sponsoring. It looks cool. Like their bar's called the Bobber. And you go, it's like going down to San Diego and staying at where you take your RV and everything.
Well, we used to get our crawdads at the stream that fed out of there. It would be to the north, but there's a creek. You get off the road, and we used to get our crawdads down on that little stream there. But that was years ago.
I want crawdads for bait now, man. Where can you buy them now? Is the thing.
We used to have. Well, we used to.
I'm about to bring 20 pound bags.
Chobe crowders, and it was funny talking. Freddie, my fishing buddy, and I, three of us go down there and get there and take the crowder, and we would put all the choice crawdads there,
Yeah, the ones that they can actually bite into.
Yeah, and we throw the big ones back because they would be the spawners, and we threw the little ones back, But
I do that in Big Bear, to tell you the truth. I catch so many crawdad in Big Bear Lake when it comes up, and I mean,
Wow.
I'll catch a half a bucket full in like a day and a half, 2 days, just
Wow.
off a dock, just dropping it down, and I'll eat a bunch of them, but I'll use some of them
that's
for bait.
clean
what I'll
water,
do?
clean water crawdads too,
I'll
right?
put them on a float and let them float out so they can never get to the bottom, and I'll hook up all the time just messing around because I'm a trout fisherman, so I'm lazy. So, I'm not here to cast out
Right,
1,000
right,
times,
right.
It's like the same thing. Like we were catching a lot of times. I'm sure it's in other lakes because I go to Big Bear a lot. It's like a little, not a sucker fish, but it's a little, and it would eat your worm every time. This little weird fish. And Big Bear Lake got better with the bass in there, and they started eating it. So guys would catch those things and then put them on a float so they couldn't get to the bottom and rack on 5-pound bass all day.
Wow.
Crazy.
Nice.
Just throw them out on a bobber. You could see it. Like sight fishing. Like you could see the fish bang on it. It is
Holy smokes.
pretty crazy stuff. And, it goes up and down. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's like an invasive species for us. Like I have to check my bait every 5 minutes to make sure there's not one on.
Yeah.
But it was cool to see in the summertime people catch bass on those shits. I'm like, thank God something's eating these things.
Well, yeah, that's good. That's a
Yeah.
good thing. Yeah.
Gregory Willison to the rescue. Gregory, you are the man. Wipers are a cross of white bass and striped bass.
There you go.
White bass. There
There
it
you
is.
go.
There
Thank
go.
you, Gregory. You are the man.
There you go.
Ken Trenholm is going to Lake Barrett on Sunday in a float tube for the first time. Danny, have you ever fished Lake Barrett?
No, but that's another one that's on the list. But it's a private lake. You go down there. You got to get on a waiting list or something, don't you? I think to get in there. But it's one of those lakes down in San Diego. It's supposed to be phenomenal fishing for bass. I never did, but I I think by the time they opened it, I was kind of phasing myself out of my bass fishing stuff. Yeah.
Pando 56. They say, who are they? That's what I want to know.
Right?
They say the white sea bass bite will going into the full moon. Will probably be good going into the full moon. But the bluefin tuna are biting. Would you guys go for bass on an overnight island trip or a 1.5 day in San Diego? Pando 56 wants to know, should he fish for white sea bass or should he fish for bluefin tuna? Because they say, well, whatever they say.
Well, it depends what boat you're going on. Hey, you going on the Endeavor? Then I would go there. Because I would take that first because you're going to get excellent rockfish fishing in Lincoln.
Ventura Sport Fishing.
Ventura Sport Fishing right there.
805-676-3474. Go ahead, Jason.
But that would be my excuse as of just right now.
Yeah.
But if you want to go be, like we were saying earlier, if you want to be a part of the numbers that come in, then take your ass down to San Diego and do it. Don't be scared. Get down there, be confident, and do it.
You just never know. You got to be on the water to know.
You never know, and I'm sure they're both going to bite. And even if you go to San Diego, I'm sure they can hit the 60-mile bank or something to get you some kind of fish other than just bluefin.
And that, I got to tell you, like
especially on, what was it say, a day and a half? Yeah.
Yeah. That was some of the best rock fish I've ever seen in my life last year on the way home. They finished.
Yep.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
And fun.
Yeah.
Big
Oh, yeah,
stuff.
we laughed.
And how beautiful are those fish coming over? All the starries and the reds and the Floridas and the...
We had almost straight reds, except for one guy who was catching all the salmon grouper.
Who was that guy?
There's some idiot.
Was it Phil?
And it was funny.
like salmon.
I'd be in between two of our friends, and I'd come up with straight slime, two slimies. Everybody else straight red. So I'd move down the rail, and here we go. And I'm going.
Well, at that point, man, I just cut
Smelling your fingers,
the
you
other
go,
hook off.
I got
and
the
then I only
stink
used
on me or
one.
what? And it just got to the point. That was a just big butt joke of the whole thing, and it was just so funny because I go, oh my God, I'm that guy.
Yeah. When 90% of the time you're the guy that rocks everybody, then you get to be on the other end. It's so fun to be.
Yeah, it was.
It's fun to
It
be that
was.
person
Oh,
sometimes.
it was a blast. And
It's always somebody
Our
different.
group got a kick out of that too. I mean, it was hilarious.
They were just waiting for it.
Yeah.
They were
Oh, yeah, it was
waiting for it
perfect.
to put
For
you
me
down.
to move up and down the rail and still catch the only slimies, that was perfect. They're all straight reds. Yeah.
All right, Michael Limon says hello to Jason, Danny, and myself. He wants to know how you guys are doing. I'll speak first, Michael. We are having so much fun. We're waiting for Paulina to bring up another calico bass. She's got 3 today so far. Guys, say hi to Michael Limon there.
Hey, Michael, where are you? She might be on a white sea bass now.
Yeah,
Mike,
yeah,
I don't
right.
know by now. Who knows?
Yep.
All right, let's see. There are lots of crawfish in Lake Gregory, Jason.
I can believe that too down there for sure. I just don't go there very often because I'm always up in Big Bear. So they stock a lot of fish in that lake, and if I believe right, I believe they used to have a slide that you can go into as a kid, and we used to hang out on the side and pay $20 or whatever it was for a wristband and slide into that lake.
No
yeah,
kidding.
I want to say it was Lake Gregory.
Wow.
I think so.
All right, good
Unbelievable.
stuff. Isaac says hello. Good evening, Isaac. Great to have you here. Ken Trenholm says, get your tickets on Ticketmaster on the first Wednesday of the month for the next month. That's the Fish Lake Barrett, I'm guessing, right?
Oh, wow.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. Cue Ball says, true story, me too. Albert Ponce says, his love for Catalina Island was renewed on our El Patron trip. He caught all kinds of giant rockfish. Albert, that was so much fun. We had big ling caught. Albert, it was really, really a lot of fun. He says, Phil, thanks for a great trip, but man, I got to thank you. Isaac wants to know, Phil, what's your albacore prediction? Coming tomorrow from the Mushroom Bank, I will have an albacore prediction. Isaac, I've already recorded that. I may add a little something to it, but tomorrow, albacore prediction. Tony, what's your albacore prediction?
Whatever you say it's going to be, because I believe everything you say.
Well,
He says anything
I got
I
some
say.
swampland to sell you, Tony.
Right?
It's great stuff. Yeah.
All right, boys, anything else before Tony throws us out of here? Last night, Rambo came into the galley, and he had like 4 fillet knives in each hand. I thought it was a freaking slasher movie for a second.
That's what I do. But I roll everybody's knives to come in.
Hey, Chad is back with us again. Great guy. He was on our El Patron trip. Albert, we were fishing at 650 feet deep for those good fish. A few times we dropped down into the depth. The captain says reel them up. Always listen to El Capitan.
Heck yeah.
That is for sure.
Oh, yeah.
What else, boys? Anything else, man? We've been going.
No,
I'm ready to
that's
get.
awesome.
I got to hit a restroom break, and then I can do some more. So.
Well, we better.
I'm gonna run and do that
shut
real
her
quick,
off
and then
before
I'll
you
come
hit
back.
that. Yeah.
No, let's.
'Cause I'm not
I'll go
letting-
and then come back, and we'll finish up and do a little longer.
You're going to take your mic with you so we can hear you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Let's
Well,
do
you
it.
better hope it's just a leak.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Not a bloop and a bloop.
All right, Jason is going to have
I'll be right back. Take that.
Perfect.
Oh,
Man, it's
God.
on my other side.
All right, Jason's gonna go take a leak.
Oh, my
I
goodness.
should have left the mic on him. I'm getting old,
Hey,
man.
that's like too much information.
I
Phil.
should have left the
Way
mic
too much
on him.
information on that one. Yeah.
Hey, a couple more things here. Isaac says, good evening. He's a little bit late to the show. Better late than never, Isaac. It's good to see you here. Also, Rob S. says, Big Bear, great fishing, Windy Point, the dam. Windy Point, the dam. Did I read that right? Yeah, I read it right. Okay, fantastic. Q-Ball says, great show, guys. Test for echo in the bathroom. Yeah, no kidding. Michael Krinkovich says TMI. What is that?
Too much information.
Too much information.
Too much
Oh,
information.
come
Yeah, I
on,
got
Michael. I should have let him do it. Naked gun do a fart, says Rob S. I mean, we get that kind of nonsense all the time. Hit that like button, everybody. We'll let Jason come back and wrap it up with Danny. Another lively show tonight with these two guys. Doug Tilk. Hey, Doug, you are the man. Michael's 12 years old now. I think he's turning to girls instead of fishing or fishing. Hey, come on. Fishing and girls are okay. They're both all right. And Jason is back to say goodbye with Danny. Let's see.
There we go.
There we go.
I have it backwards. There we go.
There you go.
All right, gentlemen, wrap it up. Say goodbye to your loyal fans. They love both of you guys.
I finally made it back. I thought I was going to get another half an hour in here. I should have went before we started, and then.
Well, you guys go ahead. I'm going to the restroom. I'll be right back.
Oh, geez.
Dude,
Well,
we gotta-
how much time we're gonna
Too
have?
much information. Here. My turn. I'll be right back.
Well, folks,
Say something.
you know.
Well, we got it. Well, what's going
oh,
on
yeah.
now? Like, I'm leaving tomorrow on a trip,
Yeah. No.
and I really don't know what the hell. Well, I know what we're kind of going to do because it's 540 slingers that's going to go. So you
Yeah,
know we're going to
cool,
be
cool.
iron fishing, which
Well-
is nice.
And myself, I'm getting ready for the Bay of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And I've been ordering, baits and bulk and changing out. You got to go change out the hooks because of the Cabria. they'll torque and twist and straighten out some of that stuff.
But what are you actually catching down there? I mean,
Oh,
we always talk about
it's
because
a-
you're
it's
catching
such a
now. You're
great-
catching groupers too, and all
Oh
this
yeah,
stuff.
you know the Baqueta is my #1 favorite fish to eat. The Cabria #2, and they are also, as far as fighting fish and catching them with it. It kind of reminds me of fishing a bass, fishing the bass on the lake, except they pull and they could rock you behind. So you're fishing them, pretty heavy stuff. But I mean, it's a kick. It's a flat out kick. I absolutely love it down there. You can have wind sometimes, you get blown out, but we've had.
I mean, it's like La
we've
Paz
had-
too. You're
Yeah.
anywhere, either one side or
Oh,
the
yeah,
other, the
yeah,
same kind of thing.
yeah. And I mean, yellowtail is never. It's a slam dunk on those usually. So I'm not so.
And
worried
nice
about it.
grade too.
Yeah, but it's the camaraderie. I'm fishing with Steve, you told me, who I've had the pleasure of fishing around the world with over the years, and he used to fish on our charters. I have the pleasure of fishing with my son Corey and my brother Steve, and Fernando's going to the Pongero, but we're going to do some different stuff that hasn't been.
Yeah, that's
done
what's
much.
cool is like, we're all used to going down there on a boat,
Yeah, yeah.
when you get to go on the shore, it's a little different going on the small boats and staying in town or
Yeah.
staying in the fishing villages,
Well, we're going to do something new. We're going to be going out, running out. We're going to stay overnight, camp on the beach. My son Corey is a phenomenal chef. He galley cooked on a lot of boats, and we're leaving it to him to do the dinner at night. That night.
You know what he's gonna do? He's gonna be searching for stuff to
Oh,
cook.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what
No,
can
no,
I
we'll-
cook?
Cabria, Baqueta, whatever,
Oh,
but
fish!
I mean,
not
it's
only
a-
that, lobster,
oh.
or clam.
Oh yeah.
All
Well,
every
get
little.
this. They got scallops, so we're gonna have maybe go in the water, get a few scallops, throw that in the mix.
Heck yeah.
But no, I'm pumped. I'm pumped. I've been sitting in my tackle shed every night, changing out hooks on the stock jigs. We're using all these swim baits, the Daiwas, the Shimanos, to the Yozuris, all of it. And basically, just firing, the big lures, the 170s and stuff. But what a kick! What a kick! Because they stop it and they
when you're
pull.
bit.
Oh yeah, no, it's a kick. So it's and it's a matter. Then you got a different gear for fishing the Baqueta, different gear for fishing the yellows. So I'm looking forward to it. I get more pumped about that than anything now.
Well, then there's the other side of it because you're on land. You get to see the culture of it too.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
they're catering to you, but you
yeah.
still get to see their culture because you're there.
Oh yeah,
the people.
it's so beautiful. And the people down there are just gracious. Great area to go to. So I really look forward to this trip.
Yep. And people don't realize how the people are down there. They're like us up here, how they just love to show how to fish their area.
Wonderful.
And then things have changed. Like we said, people are slow pitching now, so they're going for all the
Oh, yeah.
groupers and having a
Yeah.
good time with that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, like
Yeah.
taking, other styles in there.
And we're actually, you have to bring a pretty big diversity because I'm going to be fishing the 100-pound because we're fishing 500 gram flat balls and stuff like that
Yep.
for the Baqueta. So
Yeah, you're talking heavy stuff.
you're going there from there to light swim baits, the surface swim baits and stuff, the long minnow baits, the 170s and stuff like that. But it's a kick.
Yeah.
Because they pull. It's not like a calico.
Well,
these
like
things-
you're saying, what it sounds like is you could have a wide range of deep water stuff to the most shallow water stuff
Exactly.
in the same
you're
trip.
gonna hit the spectrum.
Yep. So you're
From
never
the
going to be
bottom
bored.
up. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's awesome.
You're going to whine and hurt your arm, and you're also going to hurt your shoulder from pulling on stuff at the same time.
So fishing that volume of water column, there's a lot to learn from that too, and so that also makes it fun figuring it out. That's the whole key between any fishing that we do. Figuring it out for the region that you're in, for the species that you're going to be targeting. We'll be targeting different species every day, so you got to change your game set and your mind and adjust to it.
And there's something to be
that's
said
good.
too. It's easy to get live bait every day and fish a hook with live bait instead of where
Straight
there is
artificials.
no like if you're gonna get live bait, you're gonna snag it. Or
We
you're
could
gonna do
snag
some-
mackerel, and we've done that in
for
the
sure,
past.
but still you have to catch it. It's
Yeah.
not like
Sure,
we have
sure,
bait,
sure,
we're going,
sure.
or we go the day before and get crab or shrimp or whatever and do it that way.
Absolutely.
It makes it a little more. We just don't show up on the boat and they scoop it onto the boat and we throw a line.
Yeah,
It's a little more
yeah,
fun
yeah.
than that.
And what makes it nice too, like I said, that's one option, but we're going to probably fish straight artificials, and it's just as good almost.
Yeah.
You cover more ground.
Fish more stuff.
yeah,
Have more fun.
yeah. And I'm
Actually have
gonna-
a chance to use everything in your tackle box.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Hey, when you can get everything
it
wet in the
justifies
tackle
the
box.
expenditures. I can tell Gail, look, It was worthwhile. Look
Yep.
at what we
Hey, you got to be a
caught.
bass fisherman once in a while and use every jig in the box.
There you go. There you go. That's the fun part. you know.
Definitely,
You're
definitely.
field testing for all these companies too.
Yep,
so
you
it's
got to.
great.
You got to get out there and
Support.
use it, right?
You bet.
Mike Krinkovich says, ask Flomax guy when he returns. And he wants to know how our friend Brandon the Corpse is.
Jeez,
Why did Brandon get the nickname the Corpse?
Oh, the corpse. Well, number one, the guy we gave him the name the corpse because we go on a trip, right? And you know he's always the I'm trolling. I'm gonna be up the. He's the most hardcore guy, talk wise. He is the hype man. Great for him, you know. But you know he starts to lose steam every so often because you know when you top out, you kind of sputter. It's like drinking a bunch of sugar or coffee.
Crash and burn.
Oh yeah. So one night we're out having a real good time, and us deckhands or seasoned salts, how to do it. He gets a little too salty, if you know what I mean, and passes out. We all go to sleep. And, me, I wake up every so often just to see where we're at and that, and I trip over something in the galley. What the heck is it? It's a sheet. What is this?
It's like
This
a
guy's
corpse.
laid out on the floor. You know how some people sleep in the galley? He's laid out with a sheet over himself. I'm like, what? This guy, he looks like a corpse. I get this guy is up too, because it's 1 a.m. This guy, we get pictures of him. We thought he was a dead body.
Well, I would have put the sheet over his head.
It was over his head.
Yeah,
I thought he was a dead body originally. I tripped over him. What the hell? And I thought he was a dead body, and I could see him. Luckily, he snores, so I could tell he was still alive.
But see, I mean, this is why we go fishing, folks. Yeah, I mean, really, these are some of the most precious things. So keep that in mind. I mean, messing with your friends, and particularly good friends, there's nothing better.
We didn't draw
look
his
forward
face,
to all
so
these things.
we were
Yeah,
okay.
we go
But
fishing.
that's why we call him the corpse, because we found him wrapped up in a white sheet as if he had died. And we got pictures of it, and
I love it.
It was pretty funny because,
I love it.
hey, we all had a wild night. We all had a good time. I got the moniker, the life of the party on that one.
We've all got tremendous fishing stories about catching fish, but stories like this, and the one where, we had the M80s and it blew up the shark, and Steve had his hat with shark teeth on it, had scratches, chunks of meat up by the radar on top of the wheelhouse, stuff like we couldn't
tremors.
stop laughing. So that's what makes fishing fishing.
Yep.
All these fishing trips over the years, that all the things that we've done over the past, the memories, they're golden.
Yep.
They really
That's
are.
the real reason why we're out
Yeah,
there.
absolutely.
All right, boys, the pursuit just arrived, so we have got to get out of here, but let's go through a few more of these comments. We want to get everybody. Albert Ponce, great show as always. Cue ball, nothing wrong with that. Matthew Tamayo, Danny, you've got one surface iron, all the right conditions. What's your choice? What choice would you
A
pick for
45 light.
Taddy 45 light, Matt. Albert
I'm
Ponce.
45 heavy and mint. Because I can do either or.
Yeah.
Albert says, Danny,
and I was going to
what-
say mint too.
What dates are you going to the Bay of LA?
We're going down the first week in June.
Perfect.
This will be like the first or something. It's like real quick.
Second to the 8th or something like
Yep.
that. Yeah, it's coming up.
Michael Krinkovich says, gotta love Tony. He's the anchor of 22nd Street, while Phil is the squatter of 22nd Street.
How true is that?
Michael Krinkovich says, I don't care what the people are thinking. I ain't drunk. I'm just drinking. Brandon was the best. He got his revenge on the 2-day Amigo trip. What? Oh, he caught some fish or something.
Oh, yeah, finally won. No, he got the revenge. You remember I had to reel in the sack.
Oh, my God.
That's
Yeah,
a
tell
story.
that story.
Oh, yeah, so,
Gunny's.
Brandon's the troller all the time, so he always likes to have a
He
troller out
trolls
there.
at midnight.
Yeah, so he trolls it all the time. So we're trolling on the way back, and they're filleting fish. And a gunny sack falls over the side. And it hooks up on our Mad Max. So it slides down the line, hooks the Mad Max, and it starts pulling out, and it stops. And we're like, oh, is this a fish? What the hell, So we start getting a little bit on letting these guys reel it in and stuff. And we can see it pop up, and it looks like this brown, like, is there kelp on it? What the hell? So this guy starts whining on it, and they're too tired. They're too weak, not man-made man to reel it in, right? So I'm finally like, dude, we got to get this in. And, of course, Captain's not stopping. So I put this thing in a rod holder in my belly, And I crank this thing in for like 20 minutes and finally get it in.
Oh my God.
And my arms pumped. I look like pumping iron. I look like I'm freaking winning, get it up and it's a freaking gunny sack on the end of a Mad Mac, and that's been the joke ever since. And I got a picture of me holding up like I got the jackpot. Get gunny sack on the line, and it just so happens it fell over the side in the wind when they were filleting. It went out, and it had to catch the line and slide all the way down the Mad Mac because the Mad Mac's 20 feet down.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Slid down and hooked it.
My God.
All right, boys, say goodnight to everybody. Tony's throwing us out of here.
All right.
All right, pleasure, guys.
See you, folks. See you next week.